Hello everyone and welcome back to Dissy Tales with me, Allie. If you're new here, welcome to the Dissy fam. We're so happy that you decided to join us today and click on our video. If you aren't already subscribed, go ahead and click that little red button and also click the little bell notification so that you're notified every time I upload a video, which is on Fridays. In today's video, we're going to talk about headache and migraine awareness. June is Headache and Migraine Awareness Month, so that's why I'm wearing my purple, because purple is the color for migraine, and I thought we would just sit down and talk about it a little bit and talk about the misconceptions that I had about having migraine and also some misconceptions that I thought about having a service dog. So without further ado, let's just get into today's video. First off, I want to say that my family has a history of migraine, and if you didn't know, migraine is hereditary. So if you have one person with migraine in your family, that it can be a 50-50 chance on whether or not you end up having migraine, whether it's as a kid or into your adult life is when it shows up. For me, my aunt on my mom's sister, my mom, and what it looks like to be my grandma all have migraine or some sort of migraine. My aunt and my mom more have like classic migraine, or my mom has cluster headaches too. Where my grandma, she has for years been having symptoms of like dizziness, vertigo, seeing colored geometric shapes, lines, having like the feeling of like passing out. Sometimes she has passed out, being off balance, and she didn't really know what that was until I started having those symptoms. And when we started to compare those symptoms, we were a lot alike in the symptoms that we were experiencing. And it wasn't until I got diagnosed with vestibular migraine back in November 2020 that there was finally a name with it. And so we think maybe this whole time my grandma maybe has been suffering from vestibular migraine, just because our symptoms are a lot alike and we do have that history of migraine that is interwoven into our family. So I guess my biggest misconception about migraine was that it was just a really bad headache. I didn't really know how debilitating a migraine could be. I mean, growing up, I was just used to it. I knew my aunt would come to family functions and she would say that her head hurts really bad, or she had migraine, and she would wear sunglasses, or she would just like try to power through it. And I mean, she had like some eating restrictions, like she doesn't eat any nuts or MSG, and so our family just kind of, worked around that and accommodated that as well. And I mean, my mom, she would have migraine attacks off and on, and sometimes like I would see her in bed, but I just like thought it was normal because we always had Excedrin around the house too, and my mom would take Excedrin sometimes to help her migraine. So for me, migraine was kind of normalized. I didn't really understand it, but I was living around it for the majority of my life, and I didn't really realize how debilitating migraine was until I started experiencing migraine-like symptoms and headaches. My headaches didn't really start until my sophomore year of high school, when I had a really bad concussion, and that is when my headaches started to become more like prevalent. I would like have them around Shark Week, that time of the month, get the menstrual headaches, and then I'd get heat headaches, And I never, I guess, didn't really put it together that like it wasn't normal for like one side of my head to be like throbbing and feeling like my eyeball was gonna pop out. I just thought, oh, it's just I'm just having a headache. I'll just take some ibuprofen or Tylenol or whatever and just try to kick it. It wasn't until VM really ramped up during my third year of teaching, so that was spring 2019, yeah, when I had my first vertigo attack, and then everything just snowballed from there. And as like you've seen from different people who advocate for migraine, who have vestibular migraine in particular, it takes a long time to get diagnosed because there aren't a whole lot of doctors out there who are experienced or specialize in headaches or migraine disorders, and a lot of people don't really know about vestibular migraine, and so that process is really long. And so once I was diagnosed with VM, it kind of clicked like how debilitating this neurological disease actually is, and like having to go through that process of finding a treatment with like a bunch of like trial and error, and then trying the diet stuff, and how do you exercise with this, how do you travel, how do you live life with this, which I'm still like figuring out, because there seems to be more bad days than good days right now. And by being chronic and vestibular migraine being so debilitating, and I'm not reliable, I'm not consistent, it just really takes a toll on you. I wanted to read you guys some facts that I found from the American Migraine Foundation, and it's about migraine because I don't think a lot of us really understand it. I know myself, I didn't really understand it. But like I said, migraine is hereditary. It's also the third most prevalent disease in the world, and also the sixth most disabling illness in the world. Like, let that soak in. There are so many people out there who are suffering with migraine that either are being treated or not being treated, and there's so much, I don't know if discrimination is the right word, but there's so much like lack of understanding, like especially at work or like with some of your family members or friends or whatever. When you say like, I have a migraine, there's just, oh, your head hurts again, oh, how can it hurt that much, like, oh, I get headaches too, but like they don't really understand the immense amount of pain that you're in. Or for vestibular migraine patients, sometimes you don't even get pain. It's just that silent migraine where you just spin and spin and spin, and you feel like you're rocking on a boat, and you feel like you're walking on marshmallows, and you just feel awful. That nausea is real, and the spinning is unbearable, and you get the pain in your ears, and sometimes you do get the head pain too, and it's miserable. There are 4 million people that have chronic daily migraine, and that's just like really surprising to me because migraine can be so isolating, and so it's kind of comforting to know that there's so many people out there who are suffering with the same thing that you have. But at the same time, it's like also really sad that like there's a large percentage of us who are suffering with this on a daily basis. I myself might not have a full-blown vestibular migraine every day, but I am symptomatic, and by being on Emgality, my attacks are like shorter rather than really long. Sometimes they are really long though. Migraine is an extraordinarily prevalent neurological disease affecting 39 million men, women, and children in the U.S. and 1 billion people worldwide. Migraine is more than just a bad headache. It is extremely incapacitating neurological symptoms, and VM occurs in about 1% of the population. So us vegan people are pretty special, I guess. But I guess that's like a little bit about like my misconception of migraine, and I hope that some of those statistics like really sink in, and that we can find a better way to advocate for ourselves and get more funding for research, and also spreading awareness that what migraine truly is. Well, I think that's all I have for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this content and that you have an awesome day. And don't forget on June 21st to wear your shades and take a picture of you wearing your shades and tag, I think, Shades for Migraine, so that we can spread awareness there. I hope you learned something today about migraine, and let's keep going out and advocating for ourselves and spreading awareness about migraine and headache. So I will see you guys in the next Friday video. Bye!